What happens when a lion shows mercy, a panther thirsts for revenge, and a limping antelope steps between them? The moment she takes one step forward, everything you know about predators and prey falls apart. You ever see a lion feed a pangolin? Yeah, me neither. Until that day. The savannah was dry as sin and twice as unforgiving. Heat shimmered off the earth like it was trying to escape. The sky wasn't blue, it was bleached, colorless, done, just like most creatures that wandered too long under it. You could hear death breathing in the distance if you stood still long enough, and right in the middle of that dusty nothing, there was him, a lion named Dahari. Now most lions, they don't share. You get too close to their kill, they'll remind you who invented teeth. But this one? He wasn't your typical bone crusher, no smug alpha male vibes, no loud roar at every passing breeze. Nah, Dahari wasn't about power. He was about something more dangerous in this world, mercy. That morning, he'd dragged a half-rotten baboon carcass out from a cluster of thorn bushes, not to eat, to give away, to a pangolin with one twisted leg and eyes like it had already seen the end. He nudged the meat toward it, sat down, and just watched. No growling, no pay me back later, just silence, as if that broken pangolin was worth his time. Which is exactly when the trouble started. See, the savannah may look quiet, but out there, the wild has eyes, and someone had been watching. From a crooked acacia branch above, something slick and black as spilled oil stared him down. Her name? Kalahari, but everyone just called her Kala. One look at her and you knew she wasn't the purring type. Panther? Sure, but cuddly? Not even on her day off. Kayla didn't like lions. No, that's putting it politely. Kayla hated lions, with the kind of cold, calculated rage only a mother can hold. She'd lost her cub to one, years ago, snatched right from her mouth during a panic storm caused by a tourist drone crash. Don't even start on that. Point is, she saw lions as thieves, as takers. Dahari? To her, he was just another walking betrayal waiting to happen. So when she saw him doing something kind, feeding, she didn't smile, she didn't soften, she sharpened. He turned his back to drink from the watering hole, not suspecting a thing. And that's when she leapt. Now let me tell you something about panthers. When they strike, it's not like in the movies. No dramatic growl, no announcement. They move like shadows with muscles, fast, silent, ruthless. But this time, something went wrong. Just as Kayla soared through the air, claws ready, teeth glinting under the African sun, something collided with her mid-leap. And I swear, I had to blink twice, because what hit her shouldn't have even been there. It wasn't a rhino, not a zebra, not even another predator. It was an antelope. Yeah, you read that right. A full-grown lion, a charging panther, and a limping antelope walked into a bar. Except there was no punchline. The antelope stood between them, head lowered, legs trembling but firm. Dahari backed off, confused. Kala snarled in disbelief. And the antelope? It didn't flinch, didn't bolt. It just stared her down like it had nothing left to lose. What kind of universe lets prey stand up for a predator? What kind of world lets a limping, near-dead antelope be the wall between life and death? A wild one. And out there, in that cracked red dirt, something ancient shifted. Kayla didn't attack again. Not yet. But the look in her eyes? Oh, it said everything. She didn't trust the lion, she despised the antelope, and she had no intention of walking away, not without blood. What just happened was wild. But trust me, what comes next? It changes everything. You don't want to miss what unfolds when mercy meets rage. Stay with us. So there we were, a lion trying to mind his business, a panther ready to paint the dirt red, and an antelope standing between them like it thought it was the sheriff of the savannah. And no, this wasn't some cute Disney moment. This was three creatures hardwired for survival, frozen in a triangle of disbelief. Dahari blinked first. He took one cautious step back, muscles tight, breathing like someone had just slapped the oxygen out of him. His eyes weren't filled with fear. Not yet. But confusion? Oh, absolutely. Because nothing about this made sense. Not the attack, not the rescue, and definitely not the antelope. Kayla, on the other paw, wasn't backing down. Her body was low, coiled like a spring about to snap. Her tail flicked side to side with that little try-me rhythm predators have right before something ugly happens. But that antelope? Still standing. Now let's talk about her for a second. She wasn't just any antelope. Her name was Asa. Old injury on the back leg, hip that didn't quite sit right. Clearly a survivor. Scar down the side of her neck from something that almost took her once. She didn't look fast. She didn't look strong. And that's exactly why she was still alive. Nobody saw her coming. She stared right into Kayla's eyes with this look that said, "I know pain better than you ever will." And maybe Kayla recognized that. But see, the savannah doesn't do sentiment. It's not a place for long conversations and second chances. Every second of hesitation is a gamble, and right now, nobody was folding. Dahari finally spoke, not in words, of course. Lions don't do TED Talks, but with body language loud enough to hear across the grasslands. He lowered his head, stepped away from the water, and placed himself next to Asa, not behind, not in front, but beside. That broke something in Kala. She roared, loud and raw, not like the elegant stealth she was known for. This wasn't about food, this was personal. And when that roar echoed through the plain, birds bolted out of trees, and even a few hyenas looked up like, "Okay, that's new." But before she lunged again, something interrupted. Something cold, sharp, and out of place in the middle of the sun-scorched wild. Footsteps. Human. Not many, just two, but loud enough to send shivers through the grass. Tourists, because of course. Two men in khaki with cameras, grinning like they just found a real-life nature documentary. Only this one didn't have a pause button. "Get closer," one of them whispered, not even trying to hide it. Kayla didn't move. Dahari's ear twitched. And Asa? She turned her head to look at them, like she knew, like she'd seen their kind before. And maybe she had. Because you don't carry scars like hers unless you've survived something bigger than teeth and claws, something with fuel, tires, and a lens that never asks permission. One of the men raised his camera. The other pulled out what looked like a snack bag. "Maybe we can lure one closer," he laughed. Cue tension skyrocketing. Kala didn't like being watched. Dahari hated being cornered. And Asa, she'd had enough. She stomped her front hoof once, just once. But it was enough to get both big cats' attention. And then, for the second time that day, the impossible happened. Asa started walking toward the humans. Limping, yes. Shaking, absolutely. But walking, deliberate, unwavering. Kayla's eyes darted between the men and the antelope. She looked confused, almost conflicted. And Dahari? His jaw clenched. Muscles shifted under his skin like he was fighting an instinct older than fear. Because right now there were no rules. No predator, no prey. Just one injured antelope doing what nobody dared. Walking straight toward danger like she owned the place. And behind her, two beasts watching like students in a class they never asked to join. What came next? Let's just say the whole damn savannah was never the same. This is the climax. Everything you've waited for, it's coming. Stay right here to see how the impossible turns into unforgettable. The real moment is just ahead. Do not look away now. Asa didn't pause. She didn't blink. She limped across that dead grass like the whole damn earth owed her an explanation. And she was ready to collect. The tourists, still smirking behind their cameras, had no idea what was walking toward them. To them, she was just another wounded animal. Good for a few likes. Maybe a zoom in. But this antelope? She wasn't here for a photo shoot. She was here to send a message, and behind her, two apex predators, lethal, legendary, and now silent, watching, waiting, held back not by force but by something neither of them understood. Respect. Yeah, let that sink in. Asa reached the men. One of them, let's call him Carl, he had that "I watched a documentary once" energy, crouched and extended his hand like she was a house cat. Bad move. Asa didn't flinch. Instead, she stepped to the side, not toward them, but toward the open backpack they had tossed on the ground. She nosed it once, then twice, deliberate, measured. And suddenly something snapped. A single silver object rolled out, small, sharp-edged, and familiar. It was a metal tracking collar, not just any collar. This one had dried blood on it. Kala's cub had worn one. Dahari took a step forward. The panther stiffened, and then it happened. Asa let out a sound. Not a cry, not a whimper, a grunt, a warning. Her eyes locked on Kala like she was saying, "You're not the only one who lost something." And finally, Kala saw it. She looked down at the collar, then up at the men, and something in her eyes changed. Rage gave way to realization. The world didn't run on tooth and claw. It ran on control. And the ones holding it? They didn't wear fur. Asa turned away. No drama, no victory pose. Just quiet defiance. She limped back past Dahari, back toward the tree line, toward whatever wild peace she still believed in. And Kala? She didn't follow. She walked toward the backpack. No one moved. Not Dahari, not the men, not even the wind. Then, quick as lightning, she pounced. Not at them, at the camera. It shattered. The bag went flying. Carl fell backward with a thud, finally understanding this wasn't a zoo. The second man ran. Didn't even check on his buddy. Just turned tail and vanished into the bush. Dahari didn't chase. He didn't roar. He didn't need to. Because that day, mercy had roared louder than instinct. Kala sat down next to the ruined equipment. She didn't snarl. She just stared at the horizon like she'd finally remembered who the real enemy was. And Dahari? He walked. Not toward the panther, not toward the humans. He followed Asa. Slow. Steady. As if saying, "Whatever comes next, I'm not standing alone." Because the truth? In a world where prey steps forward while predators freeze, that's the kind of wild worth surviving for. We started with a lion, a panther, and an antelope. But what we got was a lesson about instinct, injustice, and courage where nobody expects it. Not every roar changes the world. Sometimes it's a limp, a stare, a choice. If this moved you, share it. Talk about it, because mercy is contagious, and this story proves it.